Okay, so we're talking about graphing inequalities in two variables. Up to this point, we've been graphing inequalities that look kind of like this. And we have that one variable, usually x, and we do some simple solving. X is less than 2, and I get to put it on a really cute little number line. 0 to 4, an open circle on the 2, and my arrow points this way, and isn't that grand? So what we're going to be looking at instead of this is things with two variables, so something more like x minus 1 is greater than y. And suddenly, we're not going to be able to use our number line anymore. Remember when we need to graph with two variables, we use that coordinate plane because we have points on the coordinate plane that are x comma y. So there's going to be a few things we need to know. If we had an open circle before, we will start to use a dotted line for our inequality. If we used a closed circle, we will use a solid line. And again, this will make a little bit more sense when we start actually solving and graphing these. Okay? So, let's go ahead and look at this is my closest thing to graph paper. And let's look at that inequality that we had, x minus 1 greater than or equal to y. If you remember from when we solved equations, we usually like everything in y equals mx plus b format. So I want to change this inequality just slightly because I want my y on the left side. When I flip the y to the left side of the equation, remember my sign will change. So I get y is less than x minus 1. Okay? And this kind of looks like I have a slope of 1, that's my m, and my b is minus 1. That kind of looks like that y equals mx plus b format, and we're okay with graphing those kind of things, okay? So then I'm going to come over here, I'm going to draw my coordinate plane. Just like you always know how to do. And I'm going to start graphing some points. So let me kind of tick mark my way down here. This is -1, -3, -5. Okay, and I'm going to do this side too, and my x-axis. Okay, so now I have my coordinate plane all drawn, and you know how to do that and can do it better on your own time probably. And I'm going to start by graphing my y-intercept, or that b. So over here, my b is a -1. So I'm going to come down -1 on the y-axis because it's my y-intercept, and I'm going to put a dot. My slope, there's an understood 1 there, remember? So my slope is 1. Which means I'm going to go up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, and so on. I could also go down 1, left 1 if I so chose to do so. It doesn't quite matter. And of course, when I'm doing this, I want to draw my line that connects through all my points. Okay. And remember on that last slide we said if it had been an open circle, we're now going to use a dotted line. Well, if I was graphing this on a number line, that would be an open circle, right? Because it's less than. So less than or greater than give an open circle. But here I'm not graphing a circle, I'm graphing a whole line with all these points. And the points don't disappear from the line, but the line itself should be a dotted line. So you can kind of, and mine splits into weird arrows, but obviously you don't need arrow caps on every part of your line. Just make your line a dotted line, okay? So it's not that solid line all the way through all the points. It's a dotted line. Now there's one more step to graphing these kinds of equations, and that is we have to pick points that are true. Okay, so I need to know, just like when you draw the circle on a number line, you draw an arrow pointing which way is true. Now I need to decide which area of my graph is true. So I'm going to pick a point, or 2 points really. I'm going to pick one from this side of the graph and one from this side of the graph. Whatever side 0, 0 is on is usually a really easy point to pick. So I'm going to pick 0, 0. And the other point I'm going to pick, I'll pick down here 2, -1, because that'll be easy to fit in or plug in. Okay, and then I'm going to plug it into that original equation, y is less than x minus 1. So here I get 0 is less than 0 minus 1, or 0 is less than -1. That's not true. So I move over here to this one, and I say -1 is less than 2 minus 1. -1 is less than 1. -1 is less than 1. That's true. So that means I'm going to shade the side of the line that gave me that true inequality. So I'm going to shade this region down here. So if you have highlighters, this would be a time to break out the highlighters and shade below the line. Okay? So let's try another one of these where I have to solve a little bit more because they're going to give it to me in standard form. 6x plus 3y greater than or equal to 12. Okay? So I want my y's on one side and my x's on the other. That's the first thing to change. So I'm going to subtract 6x off of both sides. And I'm going to get 3y is greater than -6x plus 12. Then I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. When I do that, I get y is greater than -2x plus 4. I'm going to make myself my coordinate plane. My y-intercept was 4, and my slope was -2. So I'm going to go down to right 1, down to right 1, or I could go up to left 1. That's still negative direction. Okay, and I'm going to draw a line to connect all my points, of course, remembering that because this is just greater than and not greater than or equal to, I'm going to dot my line. Okay, and then I need to plug in those points. So again, 0, 0 is an easy point to plug in. As is over here, I can plug in, I'm just going to pick a point at random, kind of 2, 2 will work. So this says 0 is greater than 0 plus 4, which is 0 is greater than 4. That's not true. This one we need 2 is greater than -4 plus 4. 2 is greater than 0. That is true. So I'm going to shade the side of the line where my inequality is true. So 2, 2 is over here, so I'm shading this side of the line, above the line. That's a pretty shading. Okay. We're going to go through this next one kind of together, but also by yourself. So bear with me here. We'll have 8x plus y is less than or equal to 6. So go ahead and solve that so I get y is less than or equal to whatever. Good. I move that negative 8x to the other side. So I have y is less than or equal to negative 8x plus 6. Now I need to go ahead and graph that. So go ahead and graph it in your notebook. So here's my coordinate plane. Where should I start graphing? Give me the coordinate that I should start my graph at. Good, it should be the y-intercept. So up 0, or I'm sorry, over 0, up 6, because that's my y-intercept over here. Then I start following my slope, which is negative 8. So I'm going to go down 8, 2, 4, 6, 8 over 1. Down 2, 4, 6, 8 over 1. And I'm going to draw my line. Should it be a solid line or a dotted line is, I guess, the question. Good, it should be a solid line. And again, my line isn't perfect. It should go through this point as well. Then I need to pick my test points. I'm going to use 0, 0, pretty much standard at this point. And I will also use 2, 2, because it didn't go through that. Okay, plug these in and tell me which one works. So we should get that 0, 0 does work. 2, 2 is a little bit too big. So I'm going to shade below the line on this side. Okay. And that is graphing in 2 variables. Okay. Thanks for watching.